Hello everyone, and then welcome to the continuation of our Arduino program. So in the previous lesson, what we did was to do the setup, that's the hardware setup of our Arduino program, that's the LED project. So in this section, we are actually going to program our Arduino um, hardware. Okay, so I would have to type Arduino. I already have it installed. Okay, so I'll launch the Arduino program and then it is launching. But while we wait for it to launch, you might want to go to your device manager. So Windows device manager for those using Windows. Okay, then I'm going to let me close this. Okay, so here we have it, and then you would go to ports, and then you can see your Arduino is connected to port 8. Okay, so COM8. Okay, so if you are having difficulties locating the port for which your Arduino is connected, you would have to go to your device manager. Then it would help you know which port your Arduino is connected to. Okay, so that's it. Let's go to our Arduino program. Okay, so this is our Arduino interface, and then we have our working area where we are actually going to do the coding. Okay, then here is where you would see some readings if you have errors, and then success messages would occur here. Okay, and then we have the serial monitor here. Okay, that would show you some kind of measurements and things that are happening. Okay, you can see we have 9,000, 6,000 baud. Would also be helpful because we would actually use it here in the code. So I'm going to close the serial monitor, and then let's just try to understand this. Okay, so first we have the void setup. So the void setup is where you're actually going to start or set up your code. Okay, so codes that are going to run once would be written here, and then codes that are going to loop, meaning repeatedly, they are like a continuous kind of activity or event. Okay, you would write them here. So you would have to do your setup in this, that's here. Okay, that's inside the curly braces, as you see here. So we have the opening curly braces and the closing curly braces, and then you write your codes here. Okay, you can see this double slash here is to stop your program from reading the code. So anything with a double slash um, before it tells the computer not to read, so it's like a comment. Okay, so a comment is going to tell you how a program or what is happening to a program or how the person was able to achieve that particular code, like that what the code is doing. Okay, so to continue, let's first check something here. So we go to our tools, then we can go to our board. So board, you can see our board is what an Arduino Uno board. Okay, and then our ports, okay, is also what ports COM8 Arduino. Okay, so as you see here, the drop down we have it here. You'd have to select them. If it's not listed, you have to select them. And before we started this, I showed you that you have to go to your Arduino, sorry, your device manager. That's for those using Windows. Um, if it's not showing, and then you would have to go and check the ports that is actually connected to, and then you select that one. So we have a sketch. Okay, so a sketch is where, so this is a sketch. You're going to write your program here. But first, let's save our program. Okay, nothing, we've not done anything. So I'm just going to hit Control S to save it. And I will give it a name. So I'm going to call it LED exercise. Save it. So now it's saved, and then we can start writing our code. Okay, so first I'm going to click here. Okay, and then I'm going to type our LED. That's so our data type is going to be an integer. Okay, so int. So first let's do int, and then the name of our LED, I'm going to call it let's say red. So red underscore LED, and then would assign it a value of 8. Okay, so the equals is an assignment operator. Double equals is actually comparing. Okay, so if you have one equals, it's assigning the value to this. So meaning this 8 is stored in what this particular variable red LED, and then that value is an integer. Okay, we have floats, double, and the likes. Okay, so I'm going to terminate the code with an semicolon. Okay, so anytime you write a line of code, and then you would have to terminate it with a semicolon, just so the program knows that this is the end of this particular code. Okay, so now that we've initialized our LED, let's start the other initialization or the setup here. Okay, so to do that, let's first declare serial bus, serial serial.begin. Then I'm going to do what? 9600. And I'll terminate it with a semicolon. Okay, so that's for this, as you see here. Okay, we'll see some readings here. And now we'll have to declare the pin mode. So the pin mode is going to be our red LED. So I can just copy this here. Sometimes it's best to copy the variable name because any typo mistake can render your code, should I say, redundant or wouldn't work. Okay, I'll put a comma here. Then our LED is an output device, not an input. So I'm going to type an output because it's going to output a red, or let's say a blinking kind of light. Okay, and then I'll terminate it with a semicolon. Okay, so that's it for this particular, that's for the setup, so the void setup. Now let's go to our void loop. Okay, so the void loop is going to be a repeated something. So our code or our LED is going to blink for 1000 milliseconds. Okay, so to do that, we would actually have it written here, or we are going to write it, the code here. So first we'll do digital write. So digital write. Okay, digital write. Okay, so be sure of the spelling. So you can see how it spells. The W is caps, the D is small. Okay, then in the brackets, I'm going to let me paste my red LED, comma, and then low. So let's do high first. So let's do high in caps. Okay, then we're going to terminate the line of code. So we are writing to the Arduino board. So high means what? It should actually put the LED on. Okay, then low is the otherwise, so you should put it off. Okay, and then we'll put a delay. So a delay is going to let it, so the milliseconds for which would want our code to delay before the other one, the other code will take place. So delay, we'll set to 1000 milliseconds, meaning 1 second. Okay, so when it goes high, okay, after 1000 milliseconds, want it to go off. So all I have to do is copy this code, press enter. I can paste it here, and then I'm going to just change here to low, where we have the high to low. Okay, and then still 1000. So this is going to loop. So once the code, so it's going to start reading the code from the top to the bottom. So it first read this code, execute it, read this code, execute it, do this, execute it, and then do this. So now in the void loop, what is happening is it's writing that's the value here 8, okay, to the LED, that's the Arduino board, like that's high. So high means it should put on the LED, and then after we are giving it a delay of 1000 milliseconds. So after 1 second, we want it to read this line of code, so meaning it should go off. That's for the low, and then another 1000 milliseconds, it should loop the code. So it's going to go up, then read. So it's going to repeat this code until you stop it. Okay, so that said, let's load the code, and then we'll see what will happen, but we'll do that in the next lesson. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson, and then thank you.